Hello, Ben. Can you hear me, Ben?
Hey, Rob, I can hear you.
Oh, what the hell have I done? I've gone from the intro again. Everyone's seen us live on the internet. You're going.
Back cracking my spine in a place and got a cellophane ring on a heart that's been making the piss. Still got your smile, keep it moving a while. Showed you when I arrived, feeling alive. 973 stars been for me. 25 years and I'm still dreaming. Something that stands still, but I'm feeling alive. And I'm only halfway, taking that pill, feeling alive. And I'm feeling it kicking in. Cotton rock, putting myself in the dark, and got a deaf and blind mind and a love that will leave you behind. Thought this movie was mine, how much the luck that design. Show you when I arrive, feeling alive. 973.
Hello, legends, and welcome to Zwifty Chat.
Hello, legends, and welcome to episode 8 of Zwifty Chat. I think I have two of the most magnificent guests you could possibly imagine, but we haven't actually spoken until we've gone live on the internet. So, hello, Josh, are you there?
I'm there, Rob. How are you,
no,
mate?
No, I can't hear you. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Your audio's coming out
I'll
on the
talk
internet, but
to
I can't
Josh
hear
while
you.
you fix it.
Oh, what? And
Where's
I
the
can't hear
chat
Ben
from that?
either. Oh, what? Everyone, it looks like everyone else can hear you. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, right. I just had you muted. That was the whole problem the whole time. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Right, we do have guests, and I'm sorry. You deserve a proper introduction, Josh. Though we have spoken before, and obviously most people know you, but you came fourth in Zwift Games this year. You came eighth in the Worlds this year, and you came first in the very first edition of the Zwifty Chat quiz. What a bloody year!
Thanks, mate. Great to be on. It's been an awesome year, and yeah, look forward to having a chat about it.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. You are literally a legend, and I'm sorry, I put the wrong intro at the start as well. So it's been absolute chaos today. So you look like it's the
It's like
10-8,
you've been on holiday, Rob.
yeah. And Ben, how have you been?
I was just telling Josh when you couldn't hear us that I've been pretty rotten. I've been up all night
Oh,
with a
no.
stomach bug. So
Oh no!
struggled out of bed this morning and got this set up. Yeah, it was a last second setup. So I'm just as
Oh.
disorganized as you today.
Yeah, I felt really organised as well. I thought everything was going to be fine. I was like, it doesn't matter if I don't tell them to join early, it'll be fine. And yeah, I just had you muted, so sorry about that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I know. What?
All right.
There's so many things to do, Ben. As you know, there's lots of buttons to press, and I've got my new camera that you recommended. So my wife bought me the Elgato, is it face cam or something?
Face cam pro or face cam?
Yeah, face cam. Yeah, but it seems really dark. Like I've got 4 lights shining at my face. I feel really hot, but I just it seems really dark and.
I don't know.
If
Yeah,
I
it
get
is.
closer
It
to
is.
the camera, it looks a bit better, but I don't know what's going on. Everything's all the
Yeah.
lights are on bright.
Just your pasty skin, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sun for 4 decades. What do you expect?
Look at Josh. Look how golden he is.
Yeah. And is it like Tasmania? Is that like near the Arctic Circle, basically?
Yeah,
Antarctic, sorry.
we're as south as you can get in Australia, so down towards Antarctica.
Yeah. Well, yes, Josh. So you've had quite the year. I mean, we all knew you as one of our favourite racers. Like you did Worlds the previous year, and where did you the previous year? What did you do? You qualified from the first round, didn't you?
Oh no,
Did you not?
I got 40th.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was okay at the time, but I'd only I was still pretty early days in the elite scene, and the
Right, yeah.
finish of that race didn't necessarily suit me. It was
stupid,
okay, but
stupid race.
yeah.
Because was it 3 stages?
Yeah, and the first one had burritos, so like it probably hurt the lighter guys a little bit, and it came down to all about timing in the end. So like it was an okay result, but yeah, obviously a lot better since.
Yeah, so
just a
onwards
tiny
and
bit better.
upwards since there. What have you done differently, if anything, or is it just more time?
I think part of it's definitely more time. I think honestly, not too long after the Worlds, I was like already another level in terms of the elite scene, and then another year, and then I think this year I've actually treated it a little bit more seriously and trained properly in a way. Whereas 18 months ago, I was pretty much just racing for all my intensity. Unfortunately,
Right.
as much as I hate to say it, I got better when I actually
Oh
trained properly.
man, I didn't want to hear that. Last time you really buoyed me by saying it's fine, just a race. I was like, oh, Josh says it's fine.
It's pretty fine, but I've certainly gained a few percent from doing some of those other things.
Right, yeah. But I mean, I need to. I'm talking about not a few percent. I'm like 20% worse than I used to be. So I just need to get on the bike, basically, don't I? Yeah. So what was your calendar like? So was Zwift Games the first major thing?
Yeah, so the start of 2024, we had the Zwift Grand Prix, was the Elite Series last year. So that was the focus before the Zwift Games, which was like a main goal. Won a Zwift Grand Prix race, which was certainly one of my highlights. And then
I
yeah,
never watched
Zwift
that. I
Games.
don't know why I find it so. It always seems really complicated or boring. I can't remember which way around. Why I never watched it. But
It was in London. I think it was maybe the PRL half.
yeah, it does sound boring.
Caught a flyer with about 800 meters to go, and no one chased me and grabbed the win. So that
So
was
what's that up off from the escalator, like halfway around those bends to the finish? Is it?
You kind of go around where you head towards Box Hill. You do that U-turn around the roundabout with about 3K to go, and you head back in towards the city.
Yeah.
And then you kind of come up the little roller and turn left onto the red.
I remember now when. Yeah, I remember that one because you. Because you came from the back of the pack just as someone else was starting to sprint, and you came from like 900 meters or something, was it? Just before you turned left.
Yeah, and just at the exact same time, everyone had caught the guy off the front and just completely eased up, and I had so much momentum, and no one came after me.
Yeah, smashed them. I remember it was like they got close at the line, but it was like I've got this with about 200 meters to go. They went inside it all.
Yeah. And then, Zwift Games went definitely better than expected. I certainly didn't expect to see myself in that kind of position. And then from there, it was pretty much all about getting ready for Worlds.
So just a little bit more on Zwift Games then. So what did you think of I suppose it was their attempt because they'd lost the Worlds to do something similar-ish. What did you think to the whole thing, like the prize money, the the way it was organized, the verification, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I really liked the structure because I knew that worst case you'd get 3 chances to have a race, whereas like the previous year at the World Champs I was 17 minutes and that was me done. So but they had that first sprint format, which obviously I made the 3rd round, which was fantastic. But even if I didn't, I had the opportunity to come back for the 2 races on the following weekend. So I like that about it. The prize money, which they've changed for this year, it was pretty much almost winner takes all. Right. So like each race had top 3 and then winner overall, and it was substantial. But I got fifth, and I led the whole series, and then only lost 2nd on a count back overall, and I didn't get a cent. Whereas this year, I think in the draft the prize money bats down to about 30th, so they've completely changed the structure of the series this season. So I had a great few weeks, and that week leading up to the 3rd race, I don't think I've ever been as kind of nervous on certainly since I've been esports cycling, just because I was in a position where realistically I knew there were only kind of like 3 or 4 people that could actually win from that point.
I mean, I didn't know as much about the other guys, but I was like, whoa, up the Alp, Josh is surely got to be in with a chance. And I was really excited for you. I thought, but were you how odds are? What did you think your odds were? Did you know like Freddie was way off, or what did you? How did you feel about it?
I knew that on the Alp I'm not as good as some of the top guys, but I didn't expect 3rd week in the series where a lot of them didn't have a chance anymore, that it would go so deep. There were some guys that just turned up for the Alp, so you had all these kind of elite climbers turn up, and then as well as that, you had some guys have rides that were just unbelievable. Or they'll fantastic, certainly believable.
But, you got to be careful with that sort of word of you, but
But there were a couple of guys near me that, they had performances that were fantastic, which probably cost me 2nd in the end. But just, the depth of the field meant that there were just so many places between Freddie and I. And, Freddie deserved to win in the end. The top 4 guys in that race were awesome. But that kind of event is something I've tried to improve on over the last 12 months. I think I'd be a little bit better now, although it's still, compared to some of those guys, it's probably not my specialty. That kind of 30+ minute effort.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're giving up a lot if you're deliberately training just for that 30-minute effort compared to most, or probably 90% of the races that you do on Zwift.
Yeah, 100%. Like I really made like 5-minute power kind of my specialty, I'd say. And so like, and coming from the marathon background, like I really tried to improve everything shorter than that as well. And 90% of the races are short. So yeah, like it's not something that I do that often. If I was racing my whoosh every weekend, then, you know, that kind of 30-minute plus power would be super important. Those guys are doing phenomenal powers at, you know, far above what I can do. But that's the style of racing where that's a bit more important, I think.
Why aren't you doing Sunday Race Club? That sort of thing?
Well, get my ass kicked is probably the main reason. Like,
is Jason just taking all the money, basically?
Yeah, like there's like they've actually changed the prize money structure for 2025, which I'm gonna have a look this weekend. But until then, there's essentially been no chance of me getting a top 5 in that style of race with those dynamics over there. And then as well as that, like the team's money, like for me getting my head kicked in to finish the week, for us it's pretty late on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Just the little reward from a team's point of view that I was getting, I'd rather work a couple of extra hours than put myself through that. So but they have changed the structure for 2025 and it looks good. They've added some prize money for sprints and KOMs, and the prize money is now top 10, not top 5. So a few things that'll I'm going to have a look at it this weekend and see how it goes.
Yeah, so I mean, they've. I think you've done a video about it, and someone else did. So I haven't actually watched yours, but someone says that they've added an extra 2 categories, and which so more aimed at genuinely aimed more at the lower end rather than splitting up the top end. Is that?
I've actually made a video yesterday about it. So yes, there's 6 categories instead of 4. So I think they'll spread for the most part the existing 4 into 5, and then they'll add a 6th category, which is a little bit more entry level than what it currently is, because the top Cat 4 guys are fantastic riders. Like the numbers they're doing are like, you know, like high old Cat B type numbers, even low ACAT type stuff. So redistribution of the funds from 5 to 10, but then adding like segments and that kind of thing. So it should be it should make for some interesting tactics. And you know, for me at the moment, I don't think like at the moment top 5's not really a reality. So it'll either be about having a look at maybe trying for top 10 or just having a crack at some sprint segments for a bit of fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it is just, you know, pro. I mean, literally pro in most cases. Isn't it?
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny when, because Gatesy messaged me, said, "Oh, you should get into it." And I was looking at the Cat 4 doubles. I was like, "What? I didn't train for 6 months to get to Cat 4."
Yeah, that guy off the other podcast that I can't remember the name of, and I can't remember the name of the guy.
Spincast?
Sorry?
Spincast?
Yes, it is that. Yeah. Well, one of them, I think he's A, and like top category in Zwift racing score in Zwift. He's like winning the Cat 4 races. I'm like, oh. Okay. That's not for me really then. Well, Worlds was what you were going to talk about before I briefly interrupted.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing, because it was in person, which is, I would have loved to have gone there and got my ass kicked just for the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm going to put your video in the background. I don't think there's.
Is this where Josh does it? Oh, you haven't got the fist pump after the first sprint?
I think so. I think I have.
That was one of the few times I actually cut the broadcast to the right rider at the time.
Yeah, except they didn't see any of the sprint. It was only after it.
Yeah, so yeah, you just talk away, and I'll let the viewers can watch
So for those that don't know, My Wish paid for all the. How many riders was there? There's 20 riders.
Yeah, 40 male and female, like 20 per gender. So that was a massive carrot in the semi-final, was to, try and be part of that 20, because, if you're 20th place, you get this massive trip, awesome experience, whereas 21st kind of goes home empty-handed. So it was it was a pretty big kind of goal to be able to make that final. That was, I'll be the first to say that the whoosh dynamics are a little bit harder on the lighter guys than Zwift. So, top 20 for me was the initial goal. And then, this experience was so cool. Like, meeting all these people that you race against for years was certainly the highlight. Like, we'd go down to breakfast and we'd spend 3 hours just chatting, and you felt like you knew everyone because you've got a lot in common, but you've never actually met any of them.
You're all nuts. You're like, oh, I got to talk to someone else who's as big a fool as I am. I spent 3 hours in the shed.
Exactly right. Yeah, a couple of other guys that have to get up at stupid hours to race, and then all coming from random time zones, whether it was the US or New Zealand. Or it was cool.
And I suppose it makes it feel real, because one of the issues about racing on Zwift is that people do say sometimes it just feels like you're racing against bots or something. Like, you don't really feel like the real people. But if you're actually sitting there having breakfast with the people you're about to race against, that must add so much to the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are people there that are just such nice people that you'd probably never interacted with, even the times that you'd raced with. But just getting to know everyone was awesome. And then just the event itself, it was just set up so well, and that stage was phenomenal. My Whoosh did a fantastic job of organising, and I think the worlds are in the right hands with a company that can put on that kind of show. I know there are probably a few things that the viewer at home would think could be improved, but actually in that venue itself, was really, really top-notch stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I said at the time, obviously it was awesome. It looks awesome, and everyone who's
We didn't bag it out at all in a podcast.
Well, I mean, no, it was awesome if you were there, but then they put this on. They just put it as if you were just watching on a bloody computer.
So, was there any issues at all? Because I remember in your video that you talked about, because you had to ride an Elite rather than a Wahoo, but was fans and things, was there any sort of technical stuff that just bugged you, or was everything just given to you, whatever you needed?
So we had a race briefing the day before where we could ask those kind of questions. I was interested in things like that, like fans and positioning, and you could ask all that kind of stuff. What we had 2 fans per station, and because for me personally, I'm standing up a lot when I'm at power, and I know a lot of the other guys are too. The default position they had wasn't suited for that. It was more like when you're sitting on the bike, so we could basically just move them forward. We could do whatever we wanted with that. So all that stuff was really good. I've heard a few people say that because we had no control over our screen or what we saw, that was a little bug. You can't click on the rider list to see where maybe a opposition competitor is. Because how the My Whoosh screen just jumps around a little bit almost randomly. So for me, that wasn't really an issue with my tactics or how the races played out.
Because you're at the front.
Not quite, but I kind of knew where the guys I was looking at were. But someone said that, but everything else, it was awesome. We had a lot of space. The mechanics took our bikes the night before, and we had to just give them everything we needed to put on them, and then they would swap them on our random station, because there was a female at the same one as well. And so they had multiple processes of coming in, putting the female's bike on. They went to do their practice. They'd take them off, then they'd put mine on, and then they'd take mine off for the actual race. So all that process was was super smooth. Like I jumped on my bike and it just felt like $1 million. Especially compared to what we were riding on in the hotel in the lead up. But having a trainer in the hotel like provided was awesome in itself. But it wasn't smooth. And then like the whole experience was it was awesome. As I said, we couldn't touch anything. Like it was all handled back end. They'd connect our secondary sources and all that kind of thing just to make sure we had all our connections, but we weren't able to touch anything and that. But
that's what we need to do with Rob. Rob touching the mute button.
Yeah, exactly.
Lock everything.
Yeah.
So why did you? I thought you wouldn't even need secondaries or heart rate monitors because they're surely about verification, or is it only if you wanted one?
Well, like at nationals, that was the case. Like we didn't wear heart rate. I think I might have dual recorded just because I could, but they told us to not bring like devices like bike computers and phones onto the stage because like with so many connections, like they just didn't want to run any risks of things like that. But I think they took our secondary stuff either for data collection or just in case there was like trainer dropouts. They might have been able to run the games through a secondary or something.
I think that's the first event I've watched where technically nothing went wrong that we know about because every other, like this, the first British event, I've forgotten what happened. There was something happened in the background and they had to.
I would imagine it was some Australian's fault or an American. It was the British event.
There was no one allowed to. It was a British event, but yeah, like even if no one watched the Nationals, go and watch the Nationals for the Australian champs. It's quite funny because Josh was just wandering around, wanting to punch everyone. Because for those that don't know, I think first of all, one of the riders got a drop out by like 2 kilometres in, and then about 6 kilometres or 5 kilometres in, because it was a short race, you got a drop out, and then it just shows you just storming around the stage, going bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell. And then what was the process with that? Because that was also 2024. We should talk about that. So you had Justin Wilson and you had Gatesy and then a couple other riders who I probably should remember, but Did those riders all say, look, this is not right? There's 2 riders that drop out, so it's a bit unfair, or did the
So what happened? Cam Winfield had a dropout, and no one really did anything, and then a few so we'd made the final, and there were only 6 of us, so not a big field. And then I had a dropout, and then I was. For me, it was more like I wanted to just because, you're at this big event and it's completely out of your control and the equipment's stuffed up. Like, so I wanted to make a little bit of a fuss about it to, rather than just let it just go on and be this real disappointment that all this kind of stuff happened. And then Wilson, who won the event, he's always such a fair and honest guy. Like he was on the bike saying, I don't want to race. Let's stop the race kind of thing. And then I think the officials started chatting, and within a few minutes, I don't know if they had actually called it by then, but I think there was only one rider at that stage, a few minutes later that's connection was still online. So if the race had have continued a bit more, there would have only been one person left. So they
bloody Australians, Rob's right. We can't do anything.
Yeah, so they went back, and I'm sure whatever it was they learned from, and so they changed the schedule a bit. They made the final a lap shorter again, and that was that. It was a cool experience, really cool experience. Worlds was next level, but Nationals was really cool as well.
It was a good stepping stone for you.
Listened to a lot of podcasts about the Titanic sinking this week, and a lot of people died apparently, especially in the middle layer. You had the storage, what do they call it, steerage there in the middle layer, and then all the aristocrats on the top. Most people died in the middle because they were too polite to ask to go to the lifeboats. They were like, oh no dear, let them go first.
Yeah.
So we were damn proud of it as well. Damn proud to die that way. You should kick over first. So I was wrong. Right. Yes, back to Worlds. Ben, Ben, you distracted us back to his
I
parochial
didn't want to gloss
Australian
over that
stuff.
moment because that was one of my highlights, watching that on YouTube.
Yeah, so Ben and I were both gushing about this moment where you didn't sprint in the first sprint. What point did you decide not to go for it?
Oh, so yeah, I was really happy with my decision making actually. So you come off the velodrome and there's a little downhill where you pick up a lot of speed, and I've done a lot of FTS races, particularly in the ZRL, which probably prepared me for this, and I knew roughly what my entry speeds should be, even from doing some solo efforts down there. And as we were coming around, we were going like 20k an hour. Like it was so slow, and I knew where that start
Tom
line
Flo
was.
at the top doing 0 watts, wasn't he? He was literally doing 0.
Oh, anytime you pedaled, you'd push past like people, and I was second or third, and like I couldn't go anywhere because no one was pedaling, so I realized.
Did anyone consider seeing what the Americans were doing? Like, I suppose the clicky screen thing might have helped there. Like, what are the Yanks doing, hanging back?
Yeah, so I noticed something on the map, but I didn't really think much of it. And then so we came around the bank, and I decided to bail out because one, like these guys have got so many more pure watts than me, and I'm going to get torched in this kind of sprint anyway. But then just the entry speed was not going to be there, and so I only wanted to do one effort in this race. And I decided that I'd be better to, given the MyWhoosh dynamics, it's probably fair to say there's maybe not that much draft. I thought that I'd probably be better to have a crack on my own at speed the next lap. And
well, yeah, I mean, if you had gone for it to try and increase the entry speed, then you're just giving it to everyone else, aren't you?
Yeah. And then so what happened is, like, these guys are sprinting now. Because I wasn't sprinting, about 3 seconds into that sprint, the American trio go past me and latch. I'm just, as soon as that happened, I clapped. I was like, "Yep, 1, 2, 3, guys. That's guaranteed." Like
game over.
They nailed. Yep, well done, guys. Perfect. And that's the advantage of having a team, and a team that actually thought it out and worked together to make that happen. So for me to come in fifth behind, like I was never going to beat those three, to come in fifth on a solo sprint was yeah.
You sent me your watts, and it was so funny seeing your watts. I don't know what it was. It was like 800 watts, and then you had guys doing 1500 watts.
Yeah. And like to be fair, like I did my peak watts before the green banner, but still, like mine was a 30+ second effort at probably like 65% of what the other guys were sprinting at.
But I do like, because I wasn't looking forward to this one. I thought it would just be all over in one lap, which it kind of was, and the women's was. But it was fun to see, tactics winning out over pure brawn.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like I went into the final because they added this one from the semi, and I obviously thought, okay, well, on seeding, I'm now going to be worse off because of the addition of this race. And yeah, I know a few people did some solo sprints later and moved a little bit up the leaderboard, but I was really happy that a tactic like that could actually be successful because I wasn't sure about this stage myself, so it turned out to be a good one. Although, like, I understand that 15 minutes, a lot of it was probably pretty boring. Like once I had my sprint, I was just sitting on my bike doing 80 watts, trying to get some fuel into stage 2.
Yeah.
No, we had the entertainment of that. We had the cyclist inside the booth and the chat as well. Did you see the cyclist on the booth, Josh?
No, what?
Oh, you haven't watched the coverage back?
Go watch the coverage. I don't know what it is. You probably see the comments, but they're displaying like MyWhoosh, but it was in, I don't know, they must have shown you. There was a big booth where you had screens all around you.
Oh, yeah.
And a trainer in the middle.
Yeah.
And they had a guy on the trainer, and from the distance, it looked like you could see his butt crack, but it was just his belt. What are you doing showing that? They can't do that on YouTube.
And then there was Osama's speech that was the highlight. Of he went on and on and on, and then he lost place of his words, and then someone tried to tell him where his words were, and anyway. Yeah. So, a quick question from Darren Van Dit, big fan. He said, "Who most impressed you from the people that you met in real life?"
As a person, or
Yeah, as a person. I know it must be difficult picking out favourites.
Yeah.
Everyone really wants to know the one that you hated, who like no one saw.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a shame that you said everyone was really nice, because I'd like to have like a villain.
So some guys I got on really well with were Martin Martins, Tom Thrall, and James Barnes. I thought they were all fantastic people.
Yeah, I'd love to meet James Barnes. I don't know why. James Barnes in particular just seems lovely.
Oh, Teppo. Now I'm looking at that list in front of Teppo was funny as. Dan Turek was funny as. But yeah, everyone was great.
Superb.
Don't be so sit on the fence.
Yeah, list all 22.
Was Jason Osborne just constantly focused? Because when he's riding and when he's off the bike, he looks like he's so serious.
I didn't speak heaps to Jason. I did have a chat to him a couple of hours before the race for quite a bit though, and he was really nice to chat to. He was focused for sure. He's professional in the way he goes about things, and obviously a well-deserved victory, so strong, and he's shown in the few months since Worlds just how dominant he is at the moment.
Is he just winning everything still?
Yeah, and I think he's shown that his decision to quit road cycling to focus on esports is working for him, because he's going really well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The fact that you can stay at home, work a part-time job, or not work at all, but be with your family, because one of the things that I don't think people really realize is how horrible it is being a cyclist and traveling around the world and living out a suitcase for basically no money, really. Like you're chasing a dream, but there's very few people that actually make any money out of cycling.
Yeah, I did 1 week in Indonesia when I was trying to ride on the road, and like compared to marathon running, the lifestyle was just terrible. Like marathon running, you'd go to your hotel pre-race a few days out, you'd do your kind of taper runs and get looked after, and then you'd race, and it'd be a great experience. Whereas you're either racing or in a bus or eating at night time or breakfast time when you're traveling around for cycling.
And racing day after day. Risking your life.
And
as well.
Not fun.
And also, one of the things people really underestimate is riding when you're told rather than riding when you want.
Yeah. I like that Jason's made that decision, and for someone that's kind of all in on esports, it's cool to see that people are justifying those choices, because I know a lot of people naysayers about the sport and that it's not a real thing and no one cares and that kind of thing. But to see people actually make livings off it is awesome, and I hope that it's cool that they're redistributing the prize money and stuff on Whoosh, but I hope it doesn't impact those people too much. I don't think it will, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my worries in terms of how long is my wish going to keep doing this. It seems like they're in for the long term, but Zwift is not in the position that it can actually do this, because it's a subscription pays, and as people said in the I think one of the broadcasts talking about prize money, they don't want their subscription to go to the elite riders. They just want to ride on Zwift. They don't care about the elite riders, which is most people. Whereas my wish, the money doesn't come from subscription. There is payments, but it's a different form of income, which is a bit on the nose for some people. So I don't want to talk about that too much, but it's a completely different form of income. So Zwift just can't do what my wish is doing. Yeah,
exactly. And look, I've been in sport my whole life that that most people don't actually care about what I do. So like running was always the same. Like Olympians could rock up at your local park run, and the runners at the park run didn't give a crap about who the good runners were. They were just there to get their race in and focus on their goals. And I think it's completely the same with esports. It's nice that Zwift still do have a series that have some prize money on the line. I don't do it for the prize money, but it's nice, and it can also create some fun. Well, I'm hoping it does for the Sunday Race Club with these sprint points. But yeah, it's great to kind of get athletes there, and like the addition of 5 and 6 categories on MyWhoosh, like that's not a little sum of money that they're adding to the funds. Like they've went from paying out like what it must be like 40 riders a week for their placings to 120. Like that's that it's a lot.
Probably they're probably giving out as much money in a week as Zwift give out in a year, are they? It must be
I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure the exact figures on it, but it's astounding.
Yeah. But the good thing about Zwift is it has taught you.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, Rob. But the good thing about Zwift is it has taught you the skills that you use on MyWhoosh, which is why you'll continue racing for the fun of it. Because as you're saying, you do enjoy Zwift more than you do MyWhoosh in terms of the actual dynamics. MyWhoosh will get there eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
You go.
What is it about the difference? What is it about the dynamics that favors heavier riders or disfavors lighter riders in my?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm not a physics absolute expert. I think that Zwift is probably a little bit favourable to lighter riders than maybe in real life might be. I think there's maybe a little bias towards watts per kilogram on Zwift. But in saying that, I'm seeing a lot of lighter guys making suggestions and feedback to MyWhoosh that they're finding it really difficult. I have heard there are some changes to physics and dynamics coming on MyWhoosh, but for the most part, guys with big raw watts that can also climb are really standing out on Whoosh, which is probably how it is in the real world as well. Like the guys that are probably a tier heavier than me with the same kind of FTPs per kilo, they're just so strong everywhere. But I think one thing that I think the drafting can be improved. To me, it seems a little like when you're drafting, it's almost based around you're drafting off one rider rather than a bunch. Don't quote me on that completely, but I feel like it's a lot of it on Whoosh. You feel like you're doing a time trial in a way, which
I mean, it still looks a bit laney, doesn't it? It looks like they're in lanes rather than, in Zwift you kind of drift, whereas in this you're kind of in a lane, more of that. So maybe it is.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm riding, like on Whoosh, you get this green number in your watts when you're drafting. You can be drafting and it can just go white like intermittently all of a sudden. And so, I mean, that they've made massive steps forward since I was racing on there, like 18 months ago. The dynamics are now fun. There's not that lag anymore, but I think that I think that there's probably still work to go. So we'll see what happens there. But some of the guys that are the absolute elite climbers on a platform like Zwift, they're getting absolutely towed up week after week. Some of the guys that are like a level lighter than me, they just can't compete at the moment, and it's interesting to see. And as I say, I'm not a physics guy, and Zwift is possibly a little bit too favourable, but I think it's a little bit harsh at the moment.
Yeah, I've always told people that in terms of if they want to get into cycling, look at the one-day classics rather than the Grand Tours, because you see the one-day classics, they're all big cyclists, not big people, but for cyclists, they're big, and you need, especially like that power they can put out. It's as you say, if you're doing the same watts per kilo, but you're doing 100 more watts,
Yeah.
that's not insignificant.
Yeah. So, like realistically, I'm probably a similar weight to Jonas, and he's not competing in one-day classics, is he? So, yeah.
Just don't mention, well, Pogacar's actually quite heavy, but Pogacar's just a different athlete. He's an outlier.
Yeah, but like
it's unbelievable, but we won't talk about that.
the level of Cat 2 on my whoosh is astounding. Like realistically, in those style of races, I could see myself in Cat 2, but I think I've smashed the power passport test too good, and the results on the board are too good to ever be there. But I honestly think that I could race Cat 2 and have a good time.
Right. Yeah. Blimey, and you're 8th best in the world.
Yeah.
Different format though. Sunday race club is hard. Wells is like based around very short efforts with some rest. Like it's and I spent my whole year like training for like a world style race, not a SRC style race.
I sent you a message, Josh, saying, imagine how good it would be if they sent you to do this, but it was like a 5-day tour. And so you can have the 1 day, you can win the one day events, but then you've also got the GC winners and the climbers and the sprinters. That would just be amazing. Obviously, it's a lot more expensive, but that I would actually love to watch esports doing a 5-day tour on location.
See how it goes day after day. That would be really cool. Because the Worlds was on a Saturday, so probably 3/4 of the field got to experience what a 2-day tour was like with the SRC on the Sunday from the hotel.
They did it in the hotels, did they? Right. I thought they can't let them back in the event, I suppose, can they?
It was the monthly final. These guys have got to earn a living somehow, so they were as keen as.
Imagine if you're staying at the hotel and all you hear is like, like what time in the morning were the races, or was it afternoon?
Oh no, because we were in the actual time zone, so it was like midday. But yeah, I think Hayden Pucker went through a few trainers and fans. He's an absolute watt machine, that man.
Oh, you can't, because you usually bolt your trainer down as well, so that would have been another issue.
Yeah, so in the warm up, because that sprint stage was first, and the justos are for my technique, they're a bit bouncy. So I was a bit concerned. So when I did a few in the warm up, 6-8 hours beforehand, and the first one, because the back was like bolted down, I had the front was going like this a bit. So I had to do 2 or 3 to kind of lock into a technique where like I was on top of it and there was no movement at the front, because it's every setup's different. Every train is different.
On the 20th level, you don't be going through the window.
But that's a guy with like 1,000 watt or so peak, not like looking at Hayden, who probably does 1,500, and some of these other guys as well. But yeah, everyone sprints a bit differently. Everyone's used to a different setup, but we got sent a trainer a few weeks out to practice on and learn a bit from, and I used like some of those learnings to help on race day for sure.
And that is, they just own the worlds now, don't they? To put it on that level of flying equipment around the world, flying people around the world, putting them up.
Yeah.
No one else.
Yeah.
Just like the mechanics in the background, putting bikes on and off the bike. That's logistically, I didn't really think about that, but that's a huge thing as it is.
Yeah, like I'm the first to admit that I prefer Zwift, but my whoosh certainly own the worlds, and like I'm happy that it's there because they've got the resources to put into it to make it the show that it can be.
And one great thing about it, I mean, there's many great things about it, but was that when everyone did get together, and it is, absolutely the most verified you could possibly imagine, it's as clean as it's ever going to be, and provably so, was that no one made a cloud of themselves. No one was like, oh, actually, I can't cycle at all. I've just been, I've just been times in my power by 2 magically.
No catfishes.
Like at least 95% of people in the fields put up their normal at-home numbers or very close to it at some point throughout the stages, which is good to see that people people at home racing these elite events are, they're doing the right thing, and there's a lot of scrutiny about this and that, and I know the issues that I think you talked about recently with like the World Series getting canned. It's not because of riders cheating. People are getting annulled because of little discrepancies in hardware and that kind of thing. But you go to an event like this and you see everyone, putting out very similar numbers to what they're doing in these races where they're on their own setup, which they've got completely dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for the viewers too, because there is a lot of comments when you're watching elite races on Zwift where people just come in from random things like, oh, how do we know they're not cheating? And yeah, it's like they don't understand what the elite racers go through, because there's a lot of reputation on the line. There is some that have cheated, but the amount of flack that they've copped afterwards, and they basically just disappeared out of Zwift.
Yeah, which is like why I wasn't liking seeing the annulments in the World Series, because all of these riders getting annulled came to Abu Dhabi and all rode fantastically. I think, a winner has been annulled, a second place getter has been annulled, 2 others from the top 10, and they all, they all did that at Worlds, and then they're getting annulled, and people are asking questions. It's silly. There's a lot of hardness.
Any better.
Let's just finish this.
Literally all the issues started happening.
And let's just finish with the Worlds, and then we'll come back to this broader issue of sort of verification. I know I took us there, so I'm taking the blame. I'm sorry, but I've got a list of things to talk to, and I know I forgot.
Yeah, there's a long list.
Well, I know you've got to go in half an hour, haven't you, Josh? But
that's why we've got to talk about Worlds while Josh is here.
Yeah. So, which lap was this? Was this the? Oh, is this lap?
Third, maybe.
Talk, Josh. Talk. Rescue me.
It looks like the third lap to me, and that looks like Michael Knudsen chasing me, trying to take my spot in the top 8.
Didn't you get a toe off? Was it Neil, or who was it that you got that you just made it over the top with someone? Was that on this?
Oh, yes. So in stage 2, I found myself in a perfect position. We go up about a 4-minute KOM, and that's where kind of the cream rise to the top, I guess. And Jason was first over. Lionel and Bjorn, previous world champion, were in a little group, second and third, a few seconds back. And I crested that hill 4th, which, I'm pretty proud of. And then right on my tail was Hayden Pucker. So if there's anyone that you want for the descent in the last 3 or 4K, there he is. It's Hayden, because his FTP is about 530 watts or something.
Were you like, oh crap, I got to get dropped here? This is tough.
So I came over the hill with maybe 2 or 3 seconds on him, and I'm like, great, now I need to latch on. But as we come into this descent, it's like a 14% descent. Hayden's coming past me with speed, and I'm like, oh, I've just done 7.8 watts a kilo for 4 minutes, and I know I'm about to have to do a 900 watt sprint to get into his wheel. And yeah, so for me, I was holding on for dear life the last kind of 5 minutes of that stage just to hang on Hayden's wheel, let alone I was never doing a turn on Hayden's wheel, but just to hold on, which, that would secure a good spot, because there were 7-8 guys not that far behind that are, some of the best riders in the world, obviously.
And assuredly, he's not looking at you like, come on, have a turn, because he knows. Well, he knows the score, yeah?
I think at one point he eased off for a bit, and I was like, mate, nah, not happening.
I was watching the time. Yeah, I was watching the gap, and I was like, oh, Hayden's going to probably close that gap. But then I saw you were just like, nah, I'm just trying to hang on here. Just take me to the line.
Yeah, but I think that made the group with Lionel and Bjorn, they had to push as well, because with Hayden chasing them, their spots weren't secured either.
All good. So this, one of the big issues which has come up in 2024, tried to keep to the theme that I advertised, which was going to be 2024. This has all been 2024. Yeah, the trainer verification thing has really become it's not I suppose there's been good bits about it in that, as you say, the annulments now. Gabby gets annulled. Like everyone knows it's not because Gabby's cheating. Whereas previous years, maybe someone got annulled. Like, therefore they must be a cheat, or there's at least a smoke. Smoke without fire kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like everyone knows Gabby's not cheating.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah, exactly. That's certainly a good thing. But yeah, it's just an interesting situation because, I've seen some of my dual recordings from the last 2 years, and to me, it seems that these issues have been around for some time. It's just that either they weren't looked at as closely, or I had some dual recordings in, I think it was the Zwift Games, that weren't that great, and I know a lot of other riders have as well. But at that stage, whoever was verifying races was it seemed to me as though you've got your smart trainer as primary source. It's one of the ones on the list. There was a decent margin for the percentages out, whereas I think they really decided to either tighten up on that, and then you saw little issues with either the virtual shifting watts that some people were getting, and then the one where on the steep gradients where the trainer would drift. I had that in the race where everyone got let through to the next race. It was a qualifying race, and a lot of trainers on the grade on 100% trainer difficulty were drifting out. So my dual in that race was pretty much 0% the whole race, but then on the grade it was 3% different.
Oh, really?
And then, so I'm no expert. I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. That they've rolled out some firmware for the Kicker 6 and stuff. I've been using a Kicker 6, which is now reading 3% less than my pedals. So it almost to me seems like they've just turned it down a bit because I did a rep on the grade the other day and it drifted back towards 0. So
they didn't fix the drift.
Yeah,
because you make a good point. Because I've never been in the Elite Series, but I've been around the chats, and people would post up dual records 2 or 3 years ago where elite riders were 8% difference in their dual recording, but they didn't. There was nothing happened, and I think you hit the nail on the head. They've got, is it Bjorn? I always forget how to pronounce his name, from one of the Indivelo sort of startup
athlete analytics team.
Yes, so he's been brought on. He used to, I think he used to help with Zwift, but now he's got his own company.
He started, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, and so now he's just really ramped up the verification. So maybe you're right. Maybe that has always been there, but now they're going, okay, we've got to be a little bit more strict, and then they've found out the issue.
Yeah, but there are certainly those separate issues with ghost watts and drifting. But in terms of accuracy and stuff, I think you told me this years ago, Ben, that 1% doesn't mean that it's within 1%. What it means, it's within 1% of the calibration each time of that specific device or something.
It's like 1% to itself.
1% to itself. So each pedal stroke. So you do 100 pedal strokes, and they should all be within 1%. But it doesn't mean it's accurate. It just means that it's consistent. And so
they're calibrated to nothing. None of them are calibrated to anything, are they? They're just
well, they've got the algorithms and things, but there's no standard. And statistically, it's not an accuracy number; it's a consistency number.
Yeah, but they can make up their own algorithm how 200 watts is what, and
it can change in the firmware. It's good that it can change in the firmware, but they go, okay, we need to adjust how many watts, and as you said, you've lost 2%. So they're just going, okay, we'll just lower it down so we don't have issues. But the interesting thing about the shifting is I've seen dual records where it's happening in kicker cores, but they've not mentioned anything about the kicker cores because it's not the elite races, so no one's racing on the kicker course. So it's not really relevant as such, but there is people who are racing in ZRL and things who are probably getting an 8% increase, but then if they ever do fix the issues, then they're going to realize that their power is nowhere near what it was, which is going to end up being a bit of an issue for big events for a lot of riders. And it's interesting that Zwift don't ever mention, well, Zwift and also Wahoo don't mention the core, because maybe it's because the core is being shipped out with all the Zwift bikes, a big marketing push, and it's not part of the elite races, so they don't feel like they need to talk about the accuracy of it. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I think there's a big issue with the cores as well as the kickers.
Yeah, well, initially with that drift problem, they said, it was seen on kicker 6 and move or shift or whatever it is, and I was sitting there in the background with my V5, just like, oh yeah, sure, yep.
Yeah, I got a V5. It does got the issues.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. Well, how long have you got, Josh? You're supposed to be heading off soon, I think.
Oh, I got a bit of time.
Okay.
I tell you what, I went through some of the changes. It's Zwift focus because my name is Zwifty. It's called the Zwifty chat, and it's that's all I know. So I've mainly focused on Zwift for Zwift 2024 changes. So feel free to chime in on anything. So XP changes, that was crazy, wasn't it? It was just like they timed it by something and then they divided by something else and made it smaller and then they made it, and everyone got angry and then they went back to how it was being done and then they went back, oh no, sorry. And then that just, I don't understand. Mine just goes up and I'm like, oh yeah, fine. I've got the disc wheels. That's all I care about.
Yeah. I think we're not the people who are really like, we've got everything.
No.
I did the video the other day about steering up the Alp, and then when I got to the top of the Alp, I just quit and I was like, I could have got a few kilometers down the hill, but I don't care about the XP. It's literally pointless to me.
I still have it, even though I don't care about XP. I don't like wasting it, so I do always go down. I always go down. Not that I very often go up the Alp, but I did go up on Saturday.
And also, I did the workout too, so I was like a 2-hour workout. So I rode to the top, got no XP because I quit the workout and then didn't go down the hill. But the thing is, if I was at level 20, that would absolutely kill me. But I'm at the level, I was like, doesn't matter. I don't know what I'm at, 84 or 86 or something. I don't even look anymore.
Yeah, I think the
but I'm not the target.
I think the normal people who are the target for most of Zwift stuff, I think the year has generally been they've ticked off loads of like stuff that they should have done ages ago and stuff that they needed to do, and it's just been a gradual, sort of consistent, fairly, I don't know. There's been, I think they've just improved stuff gradually as you'd expect them to do, I suppose, really.
Yeah, looking at that list, I like the workouts. I like being able to go into Zwift and seeing a workout that's come from another app rather than having to go on the app, choose which workout you want, copying it into Zwift, or just running it natively through the app. And then also, if you want to do XP farming, then stuffing around with connections and things. The player highlight, I think some people didn't like it.
Workouts. There's also the My List thing that I forgot to add. Did you have something to say about that as well, Josh? The My List. Weren't you asking Eric a question about it or something?
Yeah, I saw because I do a lot of route-based workouts just on my own, like in my own head. So I saw they announced the route-based workouts, which I thought, okay, a couple of them looked okay for something, and but I forget about them because I don't think a route-based workout would appear in the workouts section of Zwift. So I thought if they had the plus button to add them to the list, then I wouldn't forget about them.
But it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the Eric Min was on a podcast for like Business Insider or something, and he's talking about AI and how they're going to integrate AI into Zwift. And that was one of the things they say, that he wants people to go to the homepage and it be designed for you. So you go to the homepage and your layout will be completely different to Rob's, because Rob just wants to race and he wants to do the Z Racing series. So just be a list of the next Z Racing series for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it should know. It should know by now. So yeah, sorry, you had something to play. I quite like the player highlight. Like, I used to occasionally just forget that which character I was looking at, especially when they put you in those same stupid jerseys or something. The same jerseys is rubbish. Those eventually.
Unless you're in the Aero jersey.
And occasionally, I'd look at another rider, like before play a highlight. Occasionally, I'd like click on another rider to see if he was cheating or something, and then I forget that I was looking at myself. That I wasn't looking at myself. I'd be riding along. I was like doing a tour to Zwift or something. I'd be like, right, yeah. Oh, well, this bit's nice and easy. I can ease off a bit. Oh, I can even ease off a bit more. Oh no, click
I
back
do
to
that.
me. Like, oh no,
I do that so
I'm
often.
1 minute behind.
I'll click on someone and I'll get dropped, or I'll click on someone else and I accelerate through the group. It's like, who's that idiot going at the front? Oh, it's me.
But player highlight helps because you
I like it because of the teammates, because you can see it's annoying that you can't get it in, say, ZRL or something. But if you're just riding along in the world and then you see a highlighted player, I went and actually deleted, because when I first joined Zwift, I basically friended every single person so that I could just basically get as much XP as possible. But then ended up had like 400 people, so I deleted all the people so that when I did see a highlighted player, I was like, actually, I know that person.
And I've got 1,000 now. I've got 1,000 people.
1,000?
They all like, I don't know, lots of people like my rides, so I just like, okay, you friended me, so I'll friend you back. But some of them must have defriended me, because now it's only 800 following me, and I'm following 1,000. And I want to, okay, I at least want to delete those 200 who've unfollowed me. Anyway,
they're probably like me. They're probably like, I don't know who Rob is. I don't want to see him when he goes past.
Yeah. So I don't know if you do this sort of. Again, it's a normal people thing, but with the robo paces, they do. Do you remember it used to drop down? It used to go up to like 2.5 or 3.0, and then drop down to 0 or 1 again. You'd have to work your way back up. So they've stopped that, I think. And
what do you mean you drop down to 0?
Well, it would drop down to 1. Like you'd get to the peak, and then it would just gradually drop all and start again. I don't know.
On the descents, they used to slow down on the descents because people were complaining. I hated it when they changed it from just 2.5.
You're talking about a different thing, Ben. Come on, Ben.
Am I talking about a different thing?
Yeah,
I've got no idea what you're talking about. Maybe I'm not a normal person.
So there's a drop multiplier, yeah, when you're with a pace partner.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Not watts per kilo. Yeah. I'm with you now. Yeah. Dad brain.
That's why I called it drop multiplier. I thought that would make it clear what I was talking about.
I just ignore you half the time, Rob. I'm just trying to talk to Josh, and you're interrupting all the time.
You don't have to be here. You could just talk to him in your own realm without me muting you.
It's too far away. You don't know how far Tasmania is?
Yeah, it looks miles away. Like, you see Australia and you think, oh yeah, it's just over there. It's like a Europe away. You know? Anyway, right. And it shows the location. Ride on bombs. I like ride on bombs. That's a nice little thing, isn't it? And confetti socks. I've never known confetti socks, but I would imagine it's the type of thing that normal people would like. He says in a very patronising way. Right. What else have they done? They fixed they're just like ticking off this stupid stuff that was there. Like, do you remember the ghost?
Sign up to Everest.
The ghost thing. When you used to click the ghost, your shadow would still be there and your fire socks would still go. So they've got rid of that. Well done. Auto sign up for the Everest thing. That was a good idea. Because that would really.
That was good because so many people were like, how I'm going to get the Tron soon, and you're like, you signed up for the actual event. And you're like, what? I've just signed up.
The HUD update I thought was a bit of a dub squib.
Give us draft for effing sake.
I know. But it was again. You've got more stats. But I like the bigger font. Do
you use any of those stats, Josh?
So I don't mind the color graph of the zones. Yeah. That's all right. Like when you know the Zwift roads so well, like the elevation thing doesn't really add much to your experience. But if you didn't, then it's probably very handy. I don't mind the new little.
I think it would be more important on the descents. It's
those, I was going to say, give us the
descents. I want to know when I'm hitting the flat bit to do a little sprint or something.
Yeah. And I don't mind the new thing on the right, the route preview or profile.
Yeah. So you can actually see. Yeah, you're like, oh, actually, it goes quite far, and there's a climb at the end or a flat bit. Because sometimes I just jump into a ride. I don't even know what the course is. I'm just like, oh, I'll leave the pens and figure it out. And then it's like, oh my god, it's the Alp. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, like it doesn't work that well for like the long routes, but for normal routes, it's pretty good. But yeah, like for the most part, I think for someone really experienced, they're only very minor changes.
Yeah.
It's important changes just for the quality of life of most average Zwifters.
I quite like the garage auto sorting. Obviously, it's not as good as being able to like put some in your shed or whatever.
Yeah, create a folder and say just bugger off.
It's 90% of what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be able to quickly select my bike, and it's there.
The stuff
It was the first time I realised that it's actually there, because I was always just riding the same bike, and so then when I was doing the testing, I got to Zwift Carbon. And you go all the way down to the bottom to get the Zwift bikes. And then when I went to swap over, I was like, what's the Zwift Carbon doing? I was like, well, that's right. They reordered the garage, so you don't have to keep searching for bikes, which is, would have been great when we did bike swaps.
Mm.
Yeah, bike swaps have gone. I can't remember if was the rolling resistance changed this year? It was probably last year, wasn't it, actually? Yeah.
I think it was last year. It was,
So,
long gone.
No point now. Because I think they're doing the reverse, in ZRL, they're doing reverse, not Climbers Gambit.
Road to Ruins.
Yeah, reverse Road to Ruins, yeah, but can't see bike change there, can you? No.
Not now.
That's not worth it.
Boring. Yeah, and the mini profile, it's hard to give them credit for this. I mean, when I first got on Zwift, virtually knowing nothing about cycling, I was like, okay, where can I see the profile of where I'm going? You know, where's the, because that's in all cycling stuff. You know, you get a little bike computer and you can see it's just the most obvious thing to have. Why they've taken so long. And it's still not very good for long rides. But I suppose the mini thing makes up for it a little bit. But
yeah, it's very handy for like when you just want to jump on the bike. If it's a ZRL race, you're like you've watched your videos, Rob, you know what's going on. But the other day I jumped into a map ride. I knew there was a volcano climb. And I was like, oh, the volcano climb better not be at the start. This is gonna be ridiculous. But then I saw on the map, it's at the end, which was good for me because I knew I could just cruise along, and then when we get to the finish, you just cruise up the volcano.
yeah, well, you should have watched that episode where I talked about the map rides. Oh, you were on it! You were on it! I told you about that route.
I think I was asleep at the time.
Right.
While we're on the topic of stuff that's changed, now this is from previous coffee rides. I did my first coffee break the other day as we're going out of Fuego Flats up the hill because I was being lazy.
Yeah,
I actually late joined as well. I joined with like 29 minutes and then did a coffee break. But I got dropped under the seat. Like I was like, oh, this is easy. I was trying to record
race group ride.
No, it's just a group ride. And you can't do it with races. You can't join late in coffee. Like I think if you join a group ride, you shouldn't be complaining about what everyone does. Like there's power in the race.
But what about Tour de Zwift? So you're doing Tour de Zwift.
Yeah.
You're in the front group.
Yeah, but it's a group ride.
And someone hits the coffee stop right at the top of the, approaching the top of,
But if you want to race, join a race.
Oh, come on, man.
Go race.
If you're in the front group in the Tour de Zwift ride and you're at the top of, Titans or whatever, and someone's
this is where I disagree because Josh would join the group ride and just cruise along doing his workout, and you beat Josh and like, oh, I kicked Josh's ass because it was a race, but it's not a race. Josh is just doing his workout. So
what do you think, Josh? You're in the front group of Tour de Zwift. You're approaching the final climb. Someone hits the coffee.
No, I think if it's there, you can use it. And I mean, I haven't used it for quite some time, but like Ben said, sometimes I do easy workouts in those kind of rides, and sometimes I race them to try and win them. But if I'm doing one of the easier ones, I've certainly used a coffee on some climbs because you always know that in those rides people go harder up the hills, and if that's harder than I want for that particular ride, I might just drop a quick coffee and and then get back to my desired intensity once we get over the hill.
How do you
That's
feel
what
about
you want to do. Like, you've got the
sandpaper
Z-Power
cricket,
riders
though?
in there.
What's that? Sorry.
How do you feel about sandpaper? You've been used in cricket. It's a similar sort of thing. Come on, lads.
No, because when you sign up, there's coffee breaks, there's late join, there's Z-Power. Like, there's 3 things there that it's not a racing thing. If you want to go racing, go join a race. But one more thing on the coffee break. I got dropped on the coffee break because if you go down the hill, it's just based on power. So
right, I was actually. Podcast. This is not fair. You're both wrong.
We'll have to settle it in the next Ashes.
Fair enough. Okay. Oh, someone's retracted a message from the chat. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
They probably
swore.
Did he?
They probably swore at us.
Oh, I hope they were swearing at you two for you do your coffee rides at the front of races. Coffee stop. Right. What are we talking about? Oh, if you need to go, Josh, do tell us. We will probably be going on for like 5
I'll hang in for 5 or 10.
Okay. Let's rattle through the next one in 5 minutes, Rob.
Right. New roads. Not much really this year in the way of new roads. They've brought back some old roads in the grade. In the Jarvis Island, and they introduced the grade. I don't care about new roads, and I think these are pretty good. It's a bit too climby, obviously the grade, a bit too steep. If it was flat, the grade, I'd much prefer it. But
it's just a flat bit of road, straight road.
The grade has, for me, improved my Watopia experience so much and got my percentage of Zwift use just back to a really high percentage because like all those new roads around there connect up to so many different places. So, and I said before, I do a bit of route-based stuff with all of those climbs near each other, like the grade, the epic reverse, the radio, for me, the grade's been a game changer in terms of riding in Watopia. So, barely touched Jarvis, but the grade expansion for me is a big tick.
Well, yeah, great.
I don't ride the grade, but the more into, what would you call it? Like, the more routes you can actually turn left and right and join up everything, the better. I'm a bit surprised though that they haven't added a new world, or they've just seemed to have forgotten about Mercury Island. They were like, Mercury Island's a new Watopia, but then they've realised people just don't like Mercury Island. They like Watopia, so they've gone back to building things in Watopia.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to have more just like one big world, doesn't it? Because, as you say, all this interconnectedness. I like the way I view routes is just like, oh right, what the next segment is. So the next segment is Titans, or the next segment is this little bump or whatever, and I like knowing them. So I don't really like new roads, but I do quite like new routes where I can link up the segments in my head, and I'm sort of okay, this is the next bit. I don't go up the grade very often, but I
want a tunnel that goes under Epic, and then you can go back to the volcano.
Oh my word! Even just a roundabout loop around the hilly KOM confuses me. I still can't get my head around that. I'm like, what? How can we be back in the same place? So it still confuses me. So tunnels would be oh dear me.
Yeah, give us some tunnels. Miss the Epic completely.
Yeah, but I quite like Jarvis Island. I like this little climb, little thing, double climb sort of thing. Get it. You can make a breakaway there. It's it's steep enough in my kind of races, small races, at 4 a.m. to make a breakaway there. So yeah, I kind of like it. I think they should have done. I tell you what, I think they should have done. I think the Deckadash should have been like a loop, like a spiral. I think they should have just repeated the grade on top of itself until it was like a volcano.
So basically the volcano next to the volcano.
Yeah, and just have those two little climbs getting closer and closer, so it just becomes more intense as you go up the levels. Okay, no one likes that idea, but that was crazy.
I was trying to get my head around what you're talking about.
So, just put the loop on top of it, but I have the first one's 4.5, the next one's 4 kilometers, but it's still got the same.
Like Russian those Russian dolls that you keep getting smaller and smaller.
Each other, and then you get to the top, and the finish is at the top. Woo! and then you all the way back down. Anyway, no one likes that. It's a stupid idea. And then we've had all the I tell you what, we haven't really mentioned, but I've really liked the sort of getting to know the personalities of the the elite series this year. I don't know whether it's just because I got into it this year, but like watching more elite stuff. But yeah, it just felt really, getting to know the people. I suppose the worlds really helped with that, but it also started with Zwift Games. They were doing like more interviews and previews with elite riders. Obviously, you've literally met them, Josh. But yeah, I think that's been great for the sport. Feels like a good thing.
Yeah. I think any people that they get, showing a bit of interest in the top riders is great. Obviously, won't be for everyone, but yeah, the more people that know the names, it's great for us.
It makes the coverage much more
you have a
interesting.
little fan club. I suppose I'm part of it, really. But do you have like a fan page, Josh Harris fan page or stuff like that?
No, not specifically. We're just cruising around on the socials here and there. Post everything up to Strava occasionally, Instagram, and then getting a little bit of a following on the YouTube since I've been starting to get amongst that a bit the last few months.
Yeah,
I think
cracking
Gatesy's
content.
Yeah, Gatesy's got the fan club, the Australia's favourite chippy.
Yeah, Gatesy. Yeah, Gatesy's always got the fans. The great man.
Yeah, but yeah, getting back to so you had your sponsorship, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Mackay Cycles jumped on board after, and that's a connection I made from Nationals. So I met Kyle up in Brisbane at the Nationals, and he runs the shop up there, and got in touch and asked if I wanted to be supported by them, and so yeah, it's really cool.
Superb. Well, that brings us to 10 o'clock in proper time, and so I've given you an out if you want to go. It's been absolutely awesome having
thanks.
you, man.
Yeah, appreciate the chat, guys. It's always good to have a chat about all things esports racing and the stuff that we do every day and really love.
Yeah, it's good to have the insights of someone who actually does these things at the elite level.
Yeah. I'd like to convene a conference on. This sounds rather grand, doesn't it? But I'd like to talk at some stage about the future of esports, and if you could come along as the elite expert, that would be greatly appreciated. But maybe you've started to hate me. A lot of people have started to hate me this year. So if you join their ranks, then fair enough. But if not.
Yeah, we'll jump into the conference, mate. No worries. Just let me know.
Excellent. I shall send a formal invitation to the colonies.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Josh. Thanks, going on.
See you, everyone.
Have a good New Year's.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, isn't Josh great?
All right, scene changes.
Oh no! Oh no! It's you're the second guest. I haven't got scenes for the. Oh, we're gonna have to go to the. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll put you in as the first guest. I'll promote you to the first guest level.
Yeah, you bumped me from the promotion. I saw Benjamin Pitt, and then a few hours later, Josh Harris.
Yeah, of course. That was always gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna have two of you now, so that'll make you feel better. Right, you'd have two. Oh, I thought there'd be two of you. Oh, yeah, there's two of you now.
There's
cool.
There's a little bit of delay too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, the one was a little bit different than the other.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
What are we going to talk about, Rob?
Should we have both? We start right. I've got. I didn't tell you, but I've got my thingy working. my what you call it?
Your Stream Deck finally got it all sorted.
Yeah. All you have to do is start the app and it works.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you got streamer bot set up as well?
Oh, Ben, don't make me feel bad. I've just achieved something good.
Well,
You should give me some.
yeah, you got that, but now the next level
experiences.
streamer bot. You'll be able to do some cool stuff with streamer bot.
What? We kind of talked about the competition, except for Indivelo. Indivelo, do you want to talk about Indivelo improvements, what they've done this year, and being taken over and stuff?
Well, I suppose this year was when I actually started writing it. Like I paid for a subscription. I went across to Indivelo when I started getting pissed off at Zwift because there was no advancement. But then that's because of my videos, obviously. Eric Min actually subscribed to me, and then 2 weeks later, everything started happening on Zwift. I was like, actually, a lot of those things I complained about are fixed. So, yeah, I really like Indivelo, but there's no community. There's a very small amount, and I'm from Australia. So as you see with Josh, even with Zwift, he's got a race at 3 or 4 in the morning, and so with Indivelo, it's quite hard to actually get a race in until the community starts building up. But Training Peaks taking over I'm going to watch that space because it is a very big market potentially of diehard riders. Like people who sign up to Training Peaks, they're even worse than us. They will literally finish their ride and spend the next 2 hours going over their metrics.
Yeah.
So,
I think we were saying a while ago, it's in a way, it's a kind of weird marriage, isn't it? Because Indivelo is all about verified racing, and Training Peaks is all about people who care about training, and not really a great overlap. But in a way, Indivelo needed community, and Training Peaks needed an online racing platform.
If it means I can jump on and do a bot ride, just like I do with Coco, and there's 100 people on there having a chat, that's all I really need. And a lot of people, it's still free. So what is it, until March? It's still free. And then also get the investment into it. So it'd be interesting to see what Training Peaks does with the graphics, because I know that George didn't want to touch the graphics. He just wants to make everything, the mechanics work. Yeah, but then at some stage, Training Peaks.
I like that about it. I want to be pure. I want to get the maths. I want to get the physics right. I kind of like. I don't care about the graphics. And I don't care about.
There was the weird thing that happened this year with Training Peaks. I mean, Indivelo and then Training Peaks was while I was in Indivelo, George released this message about changing the physics. That if you do low cadence, he said like you're going to pay the consequences.
He said that ages ago, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think it was the beginning, or maybe not the beginning of the year, but it was earlier on. And I could never find the actual consequences. Like I did so much testing, and so I don't know whether it was trolling us or not, but I literally could not find the difference between doing 40 RPM versus doing 100 RPM. I thought I found it, but it was just
I sort of don't like that.
Yeah,
idea. The indoor thing is indoor. Don't try unless you're gonna go with it properly and get how aero you are. You don't know how aero someone is just based on their.
Well, that was a difficult thing with testing it, is because with Indivelo, your aerodynamics changes depending on where you are in your FTP. And so if you're riding above threshold, your rider will get into the drops and be a lot more aerodynamic. Whereas if you're just cruising along in zone 2, you'll actually sit up and be a lot less aerodynamic. And so that was one of the issues that I had, because I'd constantly get crossover between being aerodynamic and sitting up. And so that was where a lot of my testing was just having to be thrown out the door, because I'd lose a couple of 1 kilometer an hour or something just from sitting up. Zwift has a similar thing, but it's not really that well known, and it's nowhere near as strong. Like Indivelo, you are rewarded enormously if you attack well above your FTP, and you just shoot off the front because your rider just tucks into a super aero position and just roars off. There's a little bit of an issue with new riders. Like I hosted a few races to try and get a bit of momentum, and one of my teammates, he hasn't raced on Indivelo for months and months, didn't have any data, and so he just rode away from us all because Indivelo just put him in the most aero position. And it just roared off. I think Gatesy was in the race, and Gatsy's like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm doing 6 watts per kilo and I can't chase this rider down. He was just disappearing. So there is that one issue with Training Peaks, but I think it's a bit of an outlier because most people who get into the serious racing won't be spending 6 months off the bike to get an advantage.
Zwift do something where they give you an aero benefit if your power is, I think it's maybe 10% greater than it was in the 30 seconds earlier, and you are receiving 0 draft. So it's kind of emulating either you're on the front of a pack and you're pushing to try and catch someone, or you're breaking away. But
Yeah,
in a way and I think that sort of benefits me with my surgy power. If I'm on a rolling course, so I'll do 30 seconds hard up a ramp, and then ease off. So I'll get the benefit. If it's a rolling course, I'll get the benefit on the up, and then I'll drop my power on the down, and I'll get the benefit again on the next ramp. So, but in a way, you kind of should have it all the time if you're not in the draft. Do you think?
Well, yeah, I liked Indy Valley because of the fact that it was consistent. With Zwift, as you say, you lose the draft or you get the draft and then it completely changes. And there's also, but there's a lot of similarities. When I ride on Indy Valley now with steering and I ride on Zwift with steering, it almost feels like the same game. If you change the graphics,
Oh, really?
apart from the auto braking and the weird sort of pedaling styles when you're sprinting on Indy Velo, it does. I think a lot of people would struggle to tell the difference because you get sticky draft. Indy Velo, you can get stuck in the pack so easily unless you go around the pack and then you're in the wind, so you got to pedal harder. But if you can use momentum to get around them, same thing with Zwift.
Do you think I should try and get George on this podcast?
Yeah, if you can get George on, because there's a few things that be interesting to hear about where he wants to go with.
I tell you what, I'm determined this year. I'm going to make it my next year. Sorry, New Year's resolution to find out why stickywatts is a thing. Why is stickywatts a thing in races? Why don't they just put the power to 0?
I've asked Bjorn, who does the Zada verifications, and he just said that it shouldn't be 0 because you're making up watts. I think he's far smarter than me, so I didn't get his answer, but he's basically saying they don't want to make up numbers. So
But they are making up
I was
numbers.
like,
They're making up numbers like it's equal to the last one rather than equal to 0. It's the same make it up.
So I never got an answer that I was satisfied with, but the fact that he's so smart when it comes to these sort of things, that there must be an issue that you can't just, because I always thought maybe just drop it down to 5 watts or even 40 watts, because
your FTP
if you drop it down to 40,
whatever.
Yeah, because if you drop it down to
900 for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
That you haven't done.
And a lot of people don't realize how much it rips apart races. Like ZRL, you sprint to the banner, and then you got people who sprint to the banner and stop pedaling, but they got 3 seconds of still sprinting past the banner, and it just rips the group apart.
And they don't know. They don't even bloody know. Most of them don't know. Yeah, well, a lot of people do know. It's funny because I make a video and people are like, yeah, this is obvious. We've all known about this before. And then you get people like, no, this is not a thing. It's a real divide in the community. Yeah. But it's stupid and it needs to end. Right.
Yeah. Like Shay Miller was talking about replacing trainers with power meters. I'd love to just use my power meter, but there's so many other issues with power meters. Like I can grab my app and I can increase my power by 15% with a touch of the button during the ride.
Yeah, well, they get more sticky watts. They're far more easy to manipulate and cheat.
But even if you fix the sticky watts, you just put your crank length. You just change your crank length. Yeah. Like there's so many things. Also, like it's much more advanced, but you can still do it.
Swifter in the world.
Yeah. The Shane Miller's got a video where you get the Acciamas and you put a weight on the Acciamas and you calibrate them using a weight. Now, there's nothing to stop people from just getting a weight that's not the correct weight, calibrating your pedals, and being like 10, 20, 30% higher. So power meters aren't the answer.
Higher,
yeah. You can do the Alp in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's not too far from what some people claim they've done. Right. I did advertise that we were going to talk about it, and then I totally forgot about it on my slides, I think.
What are we talking about?
Okay. Well, I
We've got
said
the training accuracy.
the
The
layoffs.
Zwift, yeah, the Zwift CEO.
Yeah, the Amazon excellent, as I've called it. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just did not like the Amazon guys. I don't know why. Just they're outsiders. They're coming in, trying to make everything all packaged up and stuff. I have no idea whether they were good or bad. I have no idea. I just
I think it's.
instinctively didn't
I
like
was
them.
I was worried that there's going to be all of these, pay things. So like if you want to ride
Right.
on this world, you've got to pay $5. If you want to
Right.
ride this bike, you've got to pay $5. If you want to have access to these events, you've got to pay $5.
Right.
That's what I'm jumping off Zwift as soon as it becomes one of like a typical computer game. Computer games are rubbish these days when it comes to that.
Yeah. Oh, we did have the subscription increase as well, which we both went.
Yeah, that's
Both are two most watched videos about, I would imagine. We don't like
well, it
it.
caused a lot of controversy. There's a few things that have been very controversial. So there was the increase in that. Same with Strava increase. I think it was the year before. People hate paying an extra few bucks a month.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm really
Okay.
glad the Strava increase came in because I was like, actually, I don't really like Strava. I don't use it.
I unsubscribed to Strava when it increased because I was like, what do I don't ride outdoors anymore.
I don't care.
I just look at my Zwift rides on it.
Yeah. I've got Zwift.
I don't do segments anymore, so I don't need to have that because you got the analysis.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The analysis tool of like, okay, this is what you did over the segment, but
Yeah.
I don't really go for segments anymore, so I don't need that.
So what I did say we were going to talk about, which I didn't even put on my bloody slides, was Zwift Racing Score.
Yeah.
And I kind of implied that it's been terrible, and it hasn't really. So apologies for the clickbait thing.
Yeah, I like it, but it has been probably not the best implementation, but it's been the most un-Zwift thing ever. Usually with Zwift, they just don't tell you what's going to happen, introduce something, and then don't talk about it again. It just stays the same, but they changed it. Like they got really involved with the community, and they said, okay, we've got a new ZRS score, we've got a new ZRS score again, and people hated the changing, which I found really bizarre.
Yeah, I mean they stayed around. They're doing it. They actually they brought in consultants who are obviously maths men, and they're trying to make it better. I mean, they've ended up
It is a
just
hard
like
problem.
copy. For the seed, they do seem to have ended up copying what's in Zwift Racing Score. As Zwift Racing app.
Velo.
Yeah, for the seed, which they should have done. And they're sort of engaged, but not really. Like if they'd asked me, if we look at races prior to Zwift Racing Score, so category enforcement races, what would the seed, who's going to look like they are the highest seeded? And I'd say, well, it's the people with 15 second to 1 minute power, because you're categorizing everyone with the same 20-minute power together. So obviously the people with that power will.
Yeah, they've got something left at the end.
Will win the race, obviously.
Yeah.
The people with the sprints will win. If you put everyone with the long-term power together, then the people with the sprints will win. And then they put them all together, and they changed it so that everyone with the 10-minute power seems to be winning. Oh, what a surprise! You put all the similar sprinters together, and the people with the more endurance win. Oh, right. Oh, you're like, oh, come on! If they just asked me, they're talking to Tim. He would have told them. So it's just a bit
kind of a
frustrating
difficult thing
to go through all this stuff and end up at where we knew would be and where we knew we should be. And I tell you what I really don't like is that it is definitely up in people who race regularly. So I know this guy Stephen Purvis lives near me actually, just over there. Over there in Rutland. And he's the nearest Zwifter I know, so I was feeling rather fond of him. I sort of cycle through his village when I used to cycle outside. Anyway, he does moderately well in BCAT races, second class races, and then he just goes up and up and up, and then he goes up into the top category, and he just doesn't do well, but he doesn't come last, and he just moderately goes up or moderately goes down, so he's like stuck in this top category. Like that's just stupid. He very rarely wins. I mean, I should maybe be up there because I win occasionally, but that's what I don't like. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
One of the things that I find, like you look at the results and you'll see someone who came, say, 25th, and now will increase completely unrelated to another rider next to them. Like it doesn't seem to have any relation. Now, obviously with Zwift, they're trying to do some fancy work in the background, but it as a racer, you're like, well, why did that racer who finished behind me get higher points compared to what I got? Like, where has that calculation come from? So
you want to be able. I mean, with Zwift Racing app, it's slightly complicated, but I could do a worked example of how everyone's movements, worked out, and I could tell you or I could work it out even, show me the results, show me their prior scores, and I'll tell you what their, post scores will be. But with this, you can't, and it makes and it's not intuitive sense because they're doing loads of complicated stuff. And I said when they launched it, I was like, right, I'm going to work it out and tell everyone, and you can't because it's too, there's proper like PhDs in Discord groups who were like, no, can't really tell because it's too obscure and they're not showing us the history and wherever. And I think they've concentrated so much on making it bespoke and so that other games can't copy it, that they've just ignored the easy answer, which is just use Velo, which makes sense, because to get upgraded you should be beating people who are better than you. This
is why I hate the cat system, the traditional one, because you literally, as you say, it's whoever's got the best 1 minute 15-second power, but you're never going to upgrade racing in a BCAT because no one goes above the BCAT power in the race. And then if you're sandbagging enough, of course you're going to be able to do your PB 1 minute power at the end of the race. Because you've been riding around in zone 2 the whole time.
Especially if you're heavy as well.
Yeah.
If you're light,
I think a lot of like I'm a big proponent just scrapping that completely. A lot of people are a bit pissed off. I think one of the things, because I was looking at it, definitely for DCAT, is if you look at a ZRS race, a lot of the people will be at the very limit of the category. And then as you get lower and lower down, it's like a pyramid. And so definitely with DCAT, CCAT's a bit similar, but not as obvious. And they know, okay, if I train this many hours a week, I'm going to stay at the very top of my category and I won't go up and I won't go down, and it's very easy. I'll enjoy racing. But then with ZRS, they've been thrown into a completely different system and they're like, wait a sec, I don't know, like I'll join a race and I'll get dropped. Like this is not, I don't know how I'm supposed to ride now. Like, do I train more? Do I train less? I think that's one of the issues that people have with this system, is that they're confused by what they do on Zwift now.
I mean, but I must echo what you've said, that it's far better. It's still far better. Seeing people who literally never stood a chance of winning a race. A light rider, mid-C or whatever, and they do hundreds of races. And a guy that I work with, he's done like 50 races. He's a better he's this better cyclist than I am, and he's never won a race because he was in A cat and I was in B. And I've won 200.
And there's people who never lose a race.
People who don't. But there are, and that is that they've got to. Well, I'll tell you what. What do you think about sandbaggers? So I don't like them. So people who still now, it seems to be getting almost open that you can just win all week, win every second category race, literally win all the Z races all week, then go and sandbag your score during
you're going to do
races.
tiny races. Yeah, do 4.
Some people are doing 9 tiny races, or that kind of order of number of tiny races to sandbag their score right down to the bottom again, so they can win all week again and then come back down again.
I mean that's not ideal, but it's better than them winning the race every single week and sandbagging. So at least they have to not enjoy a race, but
at least they have to
how
do
can
that.
we combat it? Yeah, how can you combat it? Because sometimes like you do a race and you're just feeling rubbish. Like I've had stomach problems. I've got to do the FRR series.
Yeah.
I think I can wait until the second, but I'm not going to be 100%. I'm going to be, and they're going to classify me based on this. So I'm not going to be sandbagging, but at the same time, people do have off days, or you you make an attack. If you want to be really attacking, you make an attack, especially in an ACAT race, and then you get dropped, and then you come miles behind. You're not going to ride as hard as you can to the finish just to try and make sure you're not sandbagging.
It's been really annoying this week because I've been doing the coastal clown loop quite a few times, and that's not a good course for me, especially I'm not fit now. So I can do the first climb. I can maybe even make a breakaway on the first climb. Towards the it does the main mountainside, and then it's a climb. Is it? It's a comp, and then you go down the grade, and then you do a flat bit, and then you go up the main mountainside. And it's come to the main mountainside the second time, and I just cannot do it. And then previously, when I was, before this, I would just give up. I was like, I don't care if I get second or fourth. I don't give a crap. But now, because of this, I don't want to be called sandbagger. So I've still got to climb up that second, the second bloody hill. Like, I don't care if I'm fourth or 14th. I don't, but I've got to pretend to. Just so I'm not a sandbagger. But anyway, it is good. It's a great move forward. I'm so glad that they've stayed and they're going to, they're showing a commitment to trying to get it right. So that's awesome. But if they can sort out.
So it'd be interesting to see like 6 months time what it's going to be like. They might be able to do some fancy things about this person got dropped in the first 5 minutes of the race or 2 minutes of the race. Their heart rate never got up. They obviously just did not try.
But they're so clever
people
as well. They're so clever, the sandbaggers. They'll always find a way.
Yeah. They'll find a way.
Do you want to have a guess at which team I think the most...
Am I allowed to say it?
Yeah, go on. No,
I've got a couple
we all know. We all know the team. Let's not say it, but we all know it.
Burrito Titans.
Right? I think we've reviewed a whole year.
Really?
Oh no!
It feels like we missed something.
I thought it was an hour and a half, but we've actually been.
Have we missed something? Surely there's something else happened this year.
Nothing else happened. No, that is the totality of everything that happened this year. How's your life been? How's your life been personally this year, Ben?
Well, personally this year has been very upheaval. So for those that don't know, Whitney and I had a baby, but the baby was very premature. So Whitney spent 3 weeks in hospital before the baby was born.
Do you mind saying how
and so then,
it was?
Well, it was born at 29 weeks and 1 day, but Whitney was admitted to hospital at 25 weeks and 6 days. And they're basically saying, we might deliver your baby tomorrow. So, that was scary stuff. And then Ethan was in NICU for 29 weeks until I think he was maybe 42 weeks old. He turns 6 months tomorrow. But people are really confused because, like, how old's your baby? I'm like, 3.5 months adjusted. And they're like, what? Adjusted? Like, well, you can't really compare a 6 month baby to a 3. Like, he's not 6 months. He's not. Yeah. So,
that's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
really.
Well,
you have 2 birthdays.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what do we do in terms of the day he was born, but also September 15th when he was supposed to be born? So you also have like a bit of a birthday then because it's like, okay, this is your full gestation day. But he was born on 1st of July, so I shouldn't forget that birthday. That's pretty easy. But he's doing really well. We had a double hernia operation a few weeks ago, which didn't seem to phase him at all. He just did his usual baby thing, getting crying when he's hungry and sleeping. So, there's obviously a long distance to go with the child. So I think, we're getting a bit more of a routine going. Whitney's parents came over. Her dad's had to go back to China, but he was here for 5 months. So Whitney's mum's here, which is a stress in itself, but it's also makes a big difference. Having someone,
Assumedly, it helps you cycle for one thing.
Well, not so much, but you know,
Really?
like I was speaking to one of my friends who's got a 6-week-old baby, and he's talking about how he just had to just give up looking after the baby because his back just went out. And so that's the thing. Like you try and do stuff, and you're just like, oh, I need to hand the baby over to you. So what we do, we've got sort of at night time, I'll look after Ethan, help with the feeds, make sure, like if he cries, you know, if Whitney needs to feed him. But then come about 10 o'clock, then Emily, Whitney's mum, will then sort of look after him for a bit so I can get a bit of a sleep. And yeah, then it's nice having the help. But then, of course, as everyone knows, when you've got a step parent with a baby, there's a lot of friction about how you're supposed to do things. So,
do you have any cycling? Should we do cycling goals, or should we? No, we'll talk about New Year in the New Year. How about that? Like goals and that.
Yeah, I've got nothing really planned for this New Year's. It's.
Oh, you spoiled it. You've completely spoiled the next episode.
What's the next thing?
By revealing that
I've got a helicopter flying overhead. I can't hear you.
Oh, I wondered what that was. It sounded like you were standing on some sort of aluminium plate or something.
It's one of the police helicopters flying overhead looking for me.
Right, I think that's the whole year done. Right. Who wants to do a quiz? No punishment rides this week. No punishment rides. Just
no punishment rides.
It wouldn't have been good to give him a punishment ride. That's not fair, is it? It's like nearly professional cyclist.
Yeah, he needs to train. Plus, I've got to do the FRR. You've got to do Z racing.
Yeah.
No one watches the punishment rides anyway.
No, they don't. They just like laughing about it, seeing us paying.
I better get my quiz up.
Yeah, get your quiz up, Ben.
Are you gonna sell the app again?
Yeah, oh yeah, everyone should get the app.
Have you downloaded the app yet?
I have downloaded the app actually.
You did?
Oh,
that's a big change.
I haven't logged into the quiz. I had to reboot.
Fix the muting issue.
No, I've got a PCI card because my camera didn't work. My camera didn't work with my USB slots. Oddly, my USB 3 slots, getting a bit geeky here, but they weren't working.
I have to fix your lighting for your camera. It looks definitely sharper. It's just some reason it's not picking up.
Yeah, it's very dark, isn't it? I did go into the settings. Anyway, I'll do something about it. Where's the quiz? Oh, here it is. Right. Host live. I can't click the thing until I've got it up. Okay. Right. Both per screen. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my. There you go. My Stream Deck. Let's start the quiz. Okay. You can join at www.kahoot.it or preferably with the Kahoot ! App.
You're dropping out there for some reason, Rob.
Sorry?
You're dropping out for some reason then.
Am I?
Well, yeah, just then when you're explaining how you can join.
I think because the music of the game.
Oh, maybe, yeah. You got to turn that music off. It probably because I can't hear it. I don't think the chat will be able to hear it.
Oh, okay. I will turn the music off.
See what the chat says. I've been trying to keep an eye on the chat, but
yeah, I tried to dip in. Sorry, the pin for the game is 291877. Oh, TT mascot. Oh, that's not very many. Have we put everyone off?
I'm just trying to think of a name. I was going to go Benjamin. I'm not very funny today.
Arctic Benjamin. Oh, do you think that's enough? Donovan did! Yay! Oh, down came close last time, didn't he? I think.
Yeah.
I think he was pretty close, but fell at the last. Mark. Oh, Mark. Mark had a great breakaway victory this week.
I saw that.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it was
yeah, classic. Breaking way out of the tunnel going into.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you see my breakaway victory?
Which one?
This week on LaGuardia Reverse.
I've been trying to do my own videos. I saw Marky Mark because he put it on Discord when I was checking to see what's happening today for this stream. It's like, I'll click into that.
Yeah, I went from about 2K to go. I flattish course. That LaGuardia Reverse is not. There's not much to go at for a punchy rider. It's just a little 8%er for about 50 meters. Boom. Good lead.
I found when I got pushed back into BCAT when I was fit and could do 1 minute power, I found I could win so many races just by going from 1.5 kilometers out, because everyone would just, if you burst off the front and no one can draft, everyone's just like, well, he's gone. I'm not going to chase that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You just have to make sure you.
I've watched it back quite a lot actually, and there's like a couple of really good sprinters in there, which is why I went. There always is. There's a group of about 15, 20 or something like that, and one of them bursts to try and get on me as I make my breakaway, and then gets to the front and just eases off completely. It's like, oh no, I don't want to be on the front.
Because if you're a sprinter, there's no point getting to the finish if you're buggered. You just want to hope someone else does the work. So it's actually good if you've got a large group of sprinters, because they're like me. They're like, I'm not going to do any work. I'll just gamble that someone else closes it.
And one guy did it. One guy who didn't have a sprint was like, oh, Mr. Diesel. He was like bringing them all back. I hate him. Anyway, I stayed away. I won by 700ths of a second. So I got a lead of 6 seconds, 7 seconds, and then they brought it back.
I did see that actually. Now that you mentioned it, I did see that you almost got done with the line.
Yeah,
I was watching my teammate Nick Bramble did a crit race for the first time for ages, and he had steering on. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Because he got away on the last climb on downtown Dolphins.
Yeah.
But then he forgot that he had steering, so he went around the long way the whole way through, and then the very last corner he accidentally steered left, so he's gone around the outside, and then he's realised he's cut back in,
and he got give himself an extra 20 meters.
Yeah, and he got done by 0.02 of a second.
Oh no!
I was like, you just threw that away.
I mean, that course, the LaGuardia Loop, hasn't got much in it for steering. There's maybe 2 90-degree turn, you maybe going back on yourself over 2 kilometers, so there's not much to work with. But to win by 0.7 of a second, 0.07 of a second, the steering certainly gave me that. In fact, it probably gave me it in the running, because the guys behind me weren't directly behind me. I steered to the right just because the last corner was to the right, so I just happened to be on the right. I wouldn't have even thought about it. But yeah, because they weren't in my draft directly, that probably gave me it.
Yeah, I've uploaded a video, but I haven't published it yet, which is basically just showing the difference between steering and non-steering. And it's interesting, actually, looking at the new pack dynamics as well.
Yeah.
But we should do the quiz, because everyone's waiting.
Loads of people are waiting now. We should wait longer in future. A lot of people seem to. Yeah,
that way I can get the top. Actually, I probably won't get the top 10. We should go early so I can get top 10.
Okay, so we've got Arctic. I'm not sure that is Ryan, but someone has a play on words of his name. Easy, how you doing, man? Somebody Lockie, Safety with this, Downhill King, Sandy Bagger, Mr. Fran, Georg, Marky Mark, and the others who I've mentioned.
Bob Bain.
Bob Bain. And TT Mascot. I can't remember who plays Bob Bain. I can't remember someone. So this is all about 2024 stuff in Zwift, I think, totally.
Not my wish.
What is the name of the former joint CEO who resigned from Zwift in 2024? Is it Jason Jambi, Kurt Biedler, Adam Boone, or Justin Turner? Sorry, I meant to mention it during the show, but I forgot.
I think you mentioned his name, but
did I? I think I tried to.
I think maybe, because you mentioned the Amazon, and then you said his name very quickly, I think.
Okay.
But I couldn't remember what you said.
I meant to. I don't know if it helps, but the other 3 are all former first baseman for the New York Yankees. So Jason Giambi
Does not help me.
but it is Kurt Biedler, who was the second most popular choice. Who was the top choice? Justin Turner. Yeah, it's quite an obscure first baseman for the New York Yankees. So understandable that people went for him. Oh, Benjamin, is that you?
It seems so. That's my name.
Okay. Did you get bad luck, or did you?
No, because I kind of remembered what you said,
Okay,
and
okay.
I was like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Which of these routes did not feature in Zwift Games 2024? Glasgow Crit Reverse, Loop De Loop, Jurassic Coast, or Zwift Games Epic?
This one's probably one that I'm going to get wrong for sure.
Ooh, it was a bit of a trick question. It was a bit of a trick question, which is a bit naughty of me, really, because the Glasgow Crit circuit was there, but the Glasgow Crit Reverse wasn't. Loop de Loop, one of my favourite races that didn't involve me this year was Steve Dukes winning, and in the Zwift Games, Jurassic Coast, bit crap, and then the Zwift Games Epic, obviously included. Who guessed the Zwift Games Epic wasn't in the Zwift Games?
I was tempted because I thought, is there a trick question about this one?
All right, I suppose so. Yeah. No, it was the Glasgow Crit Circuit was included, but do you remember Kaminsky won with the downhill attack?
No.
You don't?
I don't
Oh.
remember most of 2024. I remember some things, but
Oh, fair enough. You were pretty busy then, anyway. Okay. Oh, Bob Bain! It feels like I'm winning, even though I'm not taking part. Right. Who was one of the winners of the Goldtron? Was it Jason Osborne, Mike Kaminsky, Neil Freight, or Freddie Osborne?
I really should know this.
Yeah, we've mentioned it on the podcast, man. We've mentioned it tonight.
Which podcast? I don't know if you episodes now. How many episodes are you in? 8, was it?
Episode 8?
Don't look at the beginning. You don't look at the beginning of the podcast.
It was Freddie Ovett. Freddie Ovett won on the Alp and won overall. I thought Josh was going to win it as well. Right. Bob Bain's still in front. Mr. Frown. It's like me and my wife at the top, even though neither of us are in the quiz.
Aaron's claiming that Kaminsky has Goldtron.
No.
Let's count back.
Kaminsky won the sprint, which doesn't get him the Goldtron. Only Freddie got it because he won it overall. Right. In which series of races did we get to race against the bots? S-Works Venge Series, Pinarello Espada Challenge, KX Try Test, or the Felt AR Trials? It was based on Miguel Indurain's bike, apparently. And it was a bit boring. It was a bit boring.
I didn't press the button.
Oh, what?
I was looking, trying to make a decision.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I was going to press Pinarello after you said.
Well, you knew that Miguel Indurain used a Pinarello?
I don't remember riding with Miguel. I don't do group rides, remember? I do races.
Yeah, he's just a famous rider from the past, but I wouldn't have thought.
I know who he is. I just don't race. I didn't do a group ride. I don't know what. I told you, if I'm doing a race, I'll do a race.
Okay. I think we're just at cross purposes now. But yeah, it was pretty boring because if you had a big enough group, you beat the bots. If you didn't, you didn't. That was pretty much it, really. But I think this is I think they should really. I was really unimpressed how Eric Bin talked about AI. I think it's going to revolutionize everything, including e-cycling. And this sort of thing.
Can they make the bots sprint out of the gate?
They can make them do anything. They should and could make them be random.
They go so slow out of the gate, they just do whatever it is, 2.3 or 2.5.
Yeah. I think they had a head start in this, or maybe they were trying to catch. I think they were trying to catch.
Ah, okay.
Right, Downhill King. Ooh, he takes his nose is bot racing. Right, which of these routes was not new in 2024? Shisha Shakedown, Main 8, Accelerate to Elevate, or Wasted 8?
Surely I'll get this one.
Not a new route. Oh, 20 seconds is quite a long time, isn't it, to consider it? It's maybe too long. It should maybe force you. Well, 5 got it right. I thought this was the easiest quiz I'd done, but apparently it's quite hard.
Well, you still got to press it quickly because even if everyone gets it right, you got to be fast.
Yeah, true.
So
It was Accelerate to Elevate, which involves the old Southern Coastal Road expansion up to the Alp. So that was all last year. Whereas all the new ones are either including Jarvis Island or the Grade. Oh, Downhill King. Oh, he's absolutely thrashing you. What is
got a
going
breakaway
on?
going.
He's 1,600 points ahead. He or she. Could be she. Could be she. Downhill King as well.
Yeah, absolutely smashing us.
What did Zwift ban from entering their races in May? Short socks, Z power, if your ZFTP is less than 3 watts per kilogram, or if you have 20 minutes power over 6 watts per kilogram and over age 70. What did they ban?
Oh, okay, I know this one. I was trying by one of those answers.
Arguably they should have banned both of them, but no, they only banned.
It's like, did I miss something here? Oh, that's right. Z Power's definitely one of them.
Arguably they should have banned both, but no, they only banned Z Power, so that's the sort of calculated.
You can still do group
based on
rides.
Yeah, as they should, surely. You don't mind that?
Because it's not a race. No, it's not a race.
Ooh.
Where's my coffee break?
Well, still a strong lead. It's still 1,500 points in front. This is a cakewalk for Downhill King. Come on, someone's got to challenge him. Which of these series came to an end in 2024? Was it Sisu Tour, Aikini Tour, FRR, or Dirt Racing Series?
Hey, I shouldn't cheer. I got that right.
Yeah, it was the Dirt Racing Series. I'm not sure. Maybe they've came back again. I don't know. They did some sort of individual series, but yeah, the team.
A lot of effort running a series, and
oh god,
yeah.
They should. Why aren't they given ZRL? Why is it still W? I tell you what. WTRL have been a lot better this year. I meant to mention this in the review. So the points are a lot better. You know, not as much emphasis on FTS. Good. Well, that's about it.
But they've got it's mostly just sprint races and TTTs though.
Yeah. So they've improved the
Which
points and made the course worse. So there should be more points races, and even the points races have become scratch races because, you know, like the last one was all on the final segment, so that's just a scratch race. Isn't it?
I don't mind a change up because I'm not racing CRL, so they can do a lot. I actually do like doing lots of TTTs. A lot of people don't though. They dislike it.
I think it should be 3 points races, 2 TTTs, 1 scratch race to finish. I'd like to finish on a scratch race.
Well, speaking of that, the finals are a waste of time, aren't they? Like, why have the finals so long after? And it's out of the season. Okay, Australians are not even in season as well because they're still running outdoors. I think they're contracted to do the 3 stages with Zwift, and then the finals is their own thing, and they just try and fit it in wherever they can. But
yeah, I mean, the only thing I like about the finals is it's my only chance to win a race. Like if we get, because you get, you get separated into various items of crockery or something, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're in the saucer, and you're in the cup, and you're in the spoon. What is that all about? What
it ends up being,
so everyone qualifies. Everyone qualifies, and some people qualify in an easier race than a harder one, and like, then you know, and if you lose the first one, then you go into the minor crockery places. You're in the fish. It's usually cup.
Yeah, it's only like 2 or 3 teams because a lot of the riders that want to race haven't actually raced with the team for like the qualifying. They had to do 4 races over one of the series, and so a lot of the times you just got 2 or 3 teams competing.
The other thing about WTRL is, other than the ridiculous treatment of me individually this year, they've been a lot nicer on their webpage. Like in previous
Haven't been.
years, they're like, how dare you ask a question? Please consult
Yeah, we work in.
not please
Yeah.
consult our extensive rule set before you ask a question. And this year they've been. a
Or
lot
we do
nicer,
this.
Really
We're working on the weekend. We've got other commitments and stuff like that. That's fair enough. You don't have to do it. You just
exactly,
don't run ZRL.
Yeah, like just let other people answer. That's fine.
Yeah.
But just don't castigate people for asking a simple question. Anyway, right. So yeah, they've been
On
really
with the
good this
quiz.
year. They've been really good. That's my comment. It didn't seem like a compliment, did it? The way I phrase it.
They've been less worse than previous years.
Yeah. No, they've been genuinely nice. Right. We've got to build up the excitement again for this quiz. But Daniel King
there's
is
3
just
questions to go.
absolutely running away. I'll tell you what, it's Peter Twigged. Do you know, he did something like 240 kilometers on Saturday by only doing downhills of the Alp. He was just like, whenever someone got to the top, he was just.
What
like,
sandbagging is that?
Yeah, he's doing lap for 500. Lap for 500. No problem.
I think I did a similar thing years ago when GP Lama was doing laps up the mountain for something, and everyone was just joining in his live stream every lap.
I think someone said to Peter, he was using because Marco, who's one of my teammates, was doing a V Everesting, and he was just using him as a human ski lift.
Yeah, an uplift. I'd be paid him for it.
Right, what is the elevation of the grade? Is it 285 meters, 305 meters, 325, or 345?
God, I don't know. I've actually never ridden up the grade. I've only gone down the grade. No,
it's better to ride down, isn't it? It's definitely better to ride down. I've only gone down one. I've only gone up once, so I'm not much better.
No, Josh Harris. I don't do my intervals.
Oh, look at this. Oh, not many people got that right. Why did so many people go for 325, I wonder?
Because it was, for me, I just went, I'm guessing, so I'll just go second highest.
So you go, you go for one of the middle ones.
It's like,
but why the higher middle one rather than low middle one?
I've got no idea. I don't know. I've never done the grade.
Fair enough.
It's my first day.
Got it. So we do have double points on the final question. So it is still possible that, I don't know, maybe Bob and Sandy
Is it?
Bagger.
I don't think it is.
It's
I don't think Daniel King.
So double points could do it. But they've got to get this right, basically. How many different stages of Zwift community racing were there? Were there 32, 35, 40, or 42? We've had this question before, Ben, so you should know it by now. It's the second time
I should. Doesn't mean I will. Did I get it right? It's taking a while.
It is taking a while. Come on, people, answer. Some people have just gone away.
I got it right. Honestly, that was a complete guess. I remember last time I did 40 and I was like, that was wrong.
Right, okay. Yeah, you'll get there. I'll ask it again next week, and maybe I'll sure.
I'll forget and I'll go 32.
All right, there were 35 stages, 5 stages, 7 weeks, and I did them all, just like I've done all the Zed racing ever, like nobody else has. Okay, right. Yeah, Daniel King was always going to get that, and it's literally now impossible to catch him.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, if it is Ryan, you're out of luck. I'm afraid it's mathematically impossible, unless, I don't know, it leaves the quiz.
Yeah, if we talk for another 5 minutes, we might possibly make you leave.
Which new Jarvis Island route is this? Is it Trouble Twist, Coast to Coast, Deck Dash, or the Classic Run? It's got a little climb at the start, bit of flapping, Zwift Games, and then back to the Jarvis Sprint. Go on, people, get your answers in. It is Triple Twist. Though, actually...
I got 4th place. I don't know how I did that.
Oh, well done, Ben. So actually, this seems to be a discrepancy. It's like, what should I go with? What should I say? Because Zwift Insider calls it Triple Twist, and Zwift calls it Triple Twists, plural. Ooh, wasn't that exciting? Right, let's see who won the quiz in the least exciting denouement.
Drum roll. I don't know if I can do drum roll because I got.
Safety with this. Congratulations on the podium, sir. Ryan Gundam.
I don't think it's real, Ryan.
Downhill King. Congratulations. I assume that is Peter. And I'm sorry there's no punishment ride for you to choose from. In fact, I'm not sorry. I don't care. If you want to do a punishment, I'll tell you what. As the winner of the quiz should do a punishment. How about that?
I think they've done the punishment. Watch the stream.
Well, what's all this about? I've never seen this. Oh, claim rewards.
Oh, does it? It shows me in 4th place. Thank God for that, because I was like, I got 4th. I don't get anything.
Oh, it shows all the order. Right, should we see who's last?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's last?
Yeah, I don't think they'd name the last person because it'd be a bit bad, wouldn't it? What do we get? What prize do we get?
40% correct answers. That's just barely better than guessing. You people are clowns.
Don't undermine downhill Peter's effort.
No, Peter did well. It's everyone else.
What are these other
all
ones?
this about? What's going on?
I don't know.
It's like we're
You
going
got to
through-
achieve it. It's because you download the app, isn't it? This is why you download the app.
I don't think so. I think this is maybe because I upgraded my subscription because I got my first ad money. I got my first ad money.
Did you?
Yeah, I
You
got about 100
run to the
quid for
bank with it.
got 100 quid for all the. So I've made all the shows are now going to be ad free, and it's only the ZRO recons which are going to have ads on because they take me ages. I deserve the money. Not that it's much.
Have you got your editing time down now?
Nope. It's got longer
Yeah,
because
it does take ages
competition. Because I've got competition now.
Yeah, it's a tight market.
Yeah, I know. There's loads. I was like, go away. I can't decide whether to do the next series or not. I'm like, oh man, I've got,
You got to do the FRR. I don't know what I'm doing.
oh man. You do that. You can do that.
No. I'll just turn up and look at the mini map.
What is this? There's like some sort of game going on. I've got to play this game all
Yeah,
night. I think. Right, that was 2024 done. I'd like to thank Josh in his absence, and I'd like to thank Ben in his presence, as ever. Thank you ever so much as well, Ben, for getting me started on this podcast. It would have been impossible without you, literally. And I hope you join me many more times.
No worries, Rob. It's fun doing these, especially as you do all the work. I just literally join in with 10, 15 minutes to go. Like, what are we doing, Rob?
Well,
Can you hear me,
this
Rob? Can
time
you hear me?
With 3 minutes to go. I know,
Well, we couldn't hear each other until after the stream started.
To be fair, I was
Oh.
like, there's 3 minutes to go. There's 3 minutes to go. What am I
Yeah,
going
it
to do?
was funny because I could talk to Josh and Josh could talk to you.
Yeah, I just
And you're like,
muted
"Can
you. I just literally just muted you.
But you couldn't hear Josh either, so you just muted both of us, was it?
Yeah. This is just a button to, I don't know, enable
At first,
speakers.
I was like,
And for some
I was-
reason,
I was
it's
like
defaulted
changing.
to muted. Like, why would you want, as the
don't think
director
it's-
of a podcast, to have your guests muted?
That happens
by
a lot with
default?
my Discord teammates. I'll be riding with them and they'll be like, I can't hear Ben. And it's like, oh, I muted him.
Oh, did you say you're doing ZRL? Or
No, I'll do FRR, but
what was it about
It's-
ZRL? That you've added a rider or something? Or was that private information?
I can't remember.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
it was
remember
probably
what
just
to-
that Josh is doing ZRL. Right, yeah, that makes sense now. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Josh is
um,
doing ZRL, yeah, because Darren was the last guest that we had was actually doing ZRL after that. None of us were talking about ZRL and no one else is doing it.
I'm sorry I haven't engaged with the chat again. I will get better at engaging with the chat in future. But thank you, legends. You are literally legends, and I hope you have a magnificent 2025. You smash all your PRs. You crush ZRL if you're doing it, or whatever series you're doing. You improve your ZFDP and ZRS and all the other stats, and have a jolly merry year. Come and join us on the Zwifty's Discord if you're not already in. It's great fun. Link will be in the description. And loads of other people have copied. Have you noticed that? Everyone else is copying me now. Like, oh, I'm a YouTuber. Come and do my Discord. Like, yeah, come on, come to the Zwifties. That's where all the multi-team action is going on. Forget all those other YouTubers.
I don't know. Have people been
Copy your
copying you, or is
Zwifty.
it just that you've noticed that people are doing the same thing?
they're copying. They deliberately copy.
Obviously.
They just want to be like me. That's right.
It's like they're doing all the recon rides as well.
Okay. Right, that's 2.5 hours. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Cheers, Ben. Cheers, legends.
Cheers,
Let's
Rob,
go.
and cheers everyone in the stream. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you. Have a good New Year's, and make sure you take all those coffee breaks.